All statements and opinions expressed by guests of the Adult in the Room podcast are strictly their own and do not necessarily reflect the beliefs or opinions of the host, producers, or advertisers. All interviews are presented in their most complete possible form in the interests of free speech. No statements should be interpreted as financial, legal, or medical advice. Listener and viewer discretion are strongly advised.
It's the Adult in the Room podcast with Victoria Taft. That's me. Drew, I'm not going to even give you your real name. I mean, not even your last name. Drew, how's it going?
Going pretty good. Thank you for having me again.
Appreciate it. You were out at Portland over the weekend. You back home now, or what's going on?
Almost back home, just about.
Okay. All right. So I understand. Hold on a second. I think I might have a picture here. Oh, do you know that guy?
Hey, yes, I do. Enrique.
Enrique Tarrio. I guess is he still the head of Proud Boys? And what was he doing out there? And what were you doing out there?
Part of the reason I went back out there again was one to see Enrique. We've been friends for quite some time now. We've done a lot of different events within this movement, dating all the way back to 2017. And so once I heard that he was going out, I just had to make that trip. It was good to see him again.
What was he doing out there? Just standing around?
I think part of seeing people he hasn't seen in a long time, he stated that it's been 5 years, 2020, since he's been able to go out there to Portland. And so, and just to get some documentation also to what's going on at the ICE facility, which was pretty mild this weekend.
Sure.
Took another devastating loss.
Another devastating loss for the left, you mean? Is that what you're saying?
Well, their numbers have diminished a lot.
Yeah. I mean, ever since Antifa was labeled a domestic terror organization, I think that's probably put a little kibosh on it. But also, I think the presence of more conservative people out there just giving them flack. Not even, I think of Tommy Boy and I think of him yelling through his loudspeaker. I'm sorry. I think the people should be allowed to sleep, obviously, because we've talked about that on this program before. But I gotta say, I just laugh every time I think about him. I just laugh and laugh. Did you hear by any chance what Tommy Boy and a bunch of other folks went to the University of Oregon? And you weren't there, were you, to talk with people, Charlie Kirk style? And what happened was a person who's a paid staff member at the University of Oregon was handing out whistles to drown out the people who were trying to have a discussion with people on campus. How's that for something? So Dan Zandini, who's daylight disinfectant online on X, pretty much nailed the University of the wall, and is going to extract a penance, I think, from them. Pretty remarkable. Yeah,
it's the part of one of their tactics for silencing people with opposing views, whether it's the whistles or the bullhorn sirens. It's another one of their methods.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Or putting an umbrella in front of your camera. So that happened to me. Of course, it's it is what it is. I can see Mike Strickland. I don't know. I know we've talked about Strickland, but that was back in 2016 when he pulled a gun on these guys who were coming out to beat him up again, Antifa members, so he got, of course, jailed and was, he was the one who was penalized for that, not Antifa. But now we know a lot more. I think now we know a lot more.
He was just a journalist down there and trying to protect himself against an angry mob who intended to do him harm. And under Portland, with how they run their criminal justice system, it's a shame.
Yeah, it is a shame. And you were stabbed by Antifa, and there we are. And I don't know.
I often think back to that day too, when if I would have taken the means to defend myself in that situation, I probably would have been imprisoned.
Yeah, you probably would. Yeah, sure. Why not? I mean, you're the victim, but they don't care about victims actually unless they're leftists. And you're not a leftist. Sorry, you don't count. No justice for you. Yeah, Portland's terrible in terms of their criminal justice system. Still is. I don't care what you say. It's gotten worse. I don't care if Mike Schmidt's gone. Don't care. Still not great. Still not great. Okay, so what did you see out there? What kind of men are out there who are on the right and on the left? What are you seeing?
I see that they have on the right, you have people who love America. They've been inspired by the recent Charlie Kirk assassination. A lot of people met up at the vigil that they had down in Eugene, and that kind of orchestrated all the way to the ICE facility with people going out there daily after Antifa took over 100, and I don't know the exact count, but over 100-day siege on the ICE facility.
Yep.
And so they wanted to go out there and do a counter protest and give support to the ICE agents. And then when it comes to Antifa and the sense of men, it's hard to categorize them inside of that category.
I mean, well,
misgendered, and I mean, I guess it's a lot of soy boy energy, I guess, when you really think about it.
I mean, it is kind of weird, isn't it? This is what Gavin. Well, I should. Do I want to do the Gavin Newsom stuff? Maybe not. But let's get to Enrique Tarrio because I have to say Cam Higbee did an excellent. Did you do an interview with him as well? Because I didn't see.
I did not this go around.
Okay. But Cam Higbee did, and God bless that kid. Just good stuff. And by the way, really clear. I could actually hear him. There were several others that were, I don't know if you saw that, but some guy from the Mercury was just like, you're not even going to get any. I mean, I've been a journalist for like a long time, and I can tell from a long ways away, hey, you're not going to get any details whatsoever because you're not going to be able to hear what the guy's saying, you dillweed. Anyway, so here we go.
When they sentenced me to 22 years, were they outside the prisons? Were they outside Freedom Corridor and the DC Gulag? They weren't. So I find it kind of hypocritical that they care more about people that aren't supposed to be here. I don't want to dehumanize those people. They just don't belong here.
The guy from the Mercury, I think, was kind of surprised at how well spoken Enrique Tarrio is. He's speaking in multiple syllabic words and all sorts of things. What is he saying there for those who need a Enrique Tarrio Sherpa to tell them what that was all about?
He's talking about the hypocrisy of the left when the January 6ers were wrongfully targeted and put inside of harsh conditions inside of the DC jail. Nobody on the left stood up for them or stated about what was wrong. Biden sent the justice system after them, and they did not get the justice that was deserved.
Yeah, they sure didn't. That was pretty remarkable. That was a pretty dark time in our history, I think.
I don't think people realize that the inhumane conditions that they were put in, solitary confinement for years, not seeing daylight for years,
Yeah.
being away from their family. Enrique shared about how he was transferred from jail to jail probably over 40 times.
Unbelievable.
And that was the only ever time that he would ever see other outside contact. And so these people were tortured. They were put inside of a gulag. And it was all because they were political prisoners and they defied the left's narrative, and nobody on the left would stand up for them.
He is talking a little bit more about that. Let's listen.
It makes me feel some type of way that they're here for them, but they weren't there for me. They're supposed to be my fellow Americans.
How many hours a day were you in solitary?
24.
Really?
24 hours.
Seems like cruel and unusual punishment.
You're supposed to let inmates out for an hour, but they had us like terrorists, so we couldn't even go out on the yard. So I spent 3 years by myself. Yeah. Besides the time that I had to go to trial.
How much of that time that you were in prison in 24-hour day solitary confinement was that before you actually got convicted?
It was about a year and change before I got convicted.
And you were still in solitary.
And I was still in solitary before and after. And I was transferred to 40 different federal prisons, federal holdovers, and county jails.
Not scared.
You know, I think that's a record. Apparently, I like breaking records. 22 years, longest trial in D.C. history, biggest case in DOJ history with the most voluminous amount of discovery. So, there's two Americas, right? And in 2016, you know, you could debate things. You could say, well, I disagree with you on immigration. We've come to a point where these two groups, right, aren't compatible with each other. I'm not going to pretend that I know a solution to that, but I don't see a solution.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well said. I mean, he's talking about stasis. Our previous guest talked about the fact that we are at a pivotal moment, and Victor Davis Hanson says that we are in a revolution, and you and I and others like us are part of the counter-revolution. It's pretty frightening right now.
The Biden administration used political bias to target January 6ers and to trump up their charges and put them through basically torture. And so they deserve every bit of these lawsuits that are coming out and the retribution against the politicians that use the criminal justice system as a weapon to silence political opponents.
You know, I know you've done a lot of work in Portland and you follow Antifa along and keep track of them. And I want to know if you've ever seen this video by the X user called Bad Kitty Unleashed. And she says, and indeed, Andy No has found at least one Antifa person who was in the crowd on January 3rd. She marks several people. I want you to check this out.
Oh, damn!
That guy. Multiple people, woman, man, two men. There's the other woman from New York.
How are you doing today?
She's Portland.
Oh, I recognize you from Portland. Hey, so you got Antifa here too. You got Antifa and Trump supporters within the same vicinity here for the same thing. This is absolutely fucking crazy.
The whole world is watching as America is being destroyed from within.
Yeah, well, she put that in there, as you know. Just when they get shot by less than lethal that were turned lethal.
Hey, fire! Hey, fire! Hey, you good?
Okay, so we don't need to see the rest of that, but would it surprise you at all to learn that there may have been people from Portland, Antifa members in the crowd?
Not at all. Not at all, because part of what they do is they want to destabilize, and part of that is creating the lawlessness and creating dysfunction. And so for them to go down there and dress up and try to play the part and make right-wingers look bad, I don't see that being too far-fetched out of the ordinary.
I'm going to play just one thing more for you. Actually, two more things. I'm going to replay part of the cut I just saw you, or just played for you.
Hey, just listen to what I'm playing! Hey, bro, that was close. Far? No, you're good. I got that on camera. You're good. You're damn.
Okay, that guy. That guy's a large guy. Okay, and I'm wondering if it's this guy.
All that pepper.
His shirt is disgusting.
I'm not sure.
I don't know. I mean, obviously a different hairdo, but it's been 5 years. That guy. I saw, there's not always somebody that large in a contingent. We've seen the guy who started the situation against Mike Strickland, Ben Carenza, and he was 400 pounds. But this guy, not the same guy, but this guy seems awful. That's the guy that was eating, like he probably ate paste too when he was a kid, but he was eating pepperball stuff.
That's his name's Big Mike. He self-proclaims himself as the president of the Antifa, and so it's just another left-wing LARPer that's out there trying to be in the spotlight.
Now, somebody messaged me over at PJ Media, where I write a lot, and said this guy has been threatening his family. And the reason that he is because they fly a pro-Donald Trump flag out in front of their house. And he's been reported multiple times to the cops, and they don't seem to do anything about it. It's kind of interesting.
No, and there's another guy that's been down there who carries that Captain America shield, who's been sending different females on the Patriot side of the movement, threatening and disturbing and deranged messages to their inbox, basically on a daily, to different women within the movement, multiple people. And we're not just talking about one, we're talking about several. And he's sending deranged, disgusting messages to their inbox that are threatening and trying to intimidate them and trying to make them scared to be out there. And so he got called out on that this weekend. And
this guy, Big Mike, or somebody else?
Not this guy, the one that carries the Captain America shield.
Okay.
So I know about the threats from that guy, but I'm not aware of any of the threats specifically with this guy, other than that he self-proclaims to be the president of Antifa, which
I think they're all saying that right now. Remember when everybody said, "I'm the president"? The people, I don't know if you know this, but there are people in Hillsborough, which is a bedroom community outside Portland, who decided that they were going to stop the ICE people and block them in with their cars in Hillsborough, and then rode on the front of one of the ICE vehicles and basically got in the way, and which is a federal offense. And I don't know that, I keep looking to see if they've been brought up on charges yet. But she calls herself the president of Antifa because it's a big laugh. Ha ha ha. Because, Antifa doesn't exist, so therefore I'm the president. Remember that when they were trying to reinvigorate that stupidity. Oh, Antifa doesn't exist. Anyway, does Antifa exist?
They'll be careful what they wish for when they get charged federally.
Yeah, I know. In fact, I might just, make sure they see it. I probably will just make sure they see it, because it was just like, really?
But to answer your question, regardless of how much the left tries to shadow Antifa and act like they don't exist, and you'll see monologues of people saying that it's just an idea. I have multiple scars on my body that says otherwise. I have seen what they are capable of. I have seen the political violence that they bring upon cities, and I have seen them attack multiple innocent women, and seen them attack children, seen them beer mace children in Portland, seen them attack Christian events, seen them attack precincts, see them burn down precincts. Like, they are very much more than just an idea, and they are a threat. And I'm glad that the government and Donald Trump is doing what they can to label them as a domestic terrorist organization, not only here locally, but nationally as well, internationally as well.
Yeah, I think you've been sort of cheering that on for quite some time.
I want to see the extermination of the problem, and
not the people. He's talking about the problem. Now he's talking about the idea.
Exactly, of the problem. Yeah. Within their networks, with the funding that's involved, millions and millions of dollars that they use to help and aid and abet their inside revolution.
Well, we've done a couple of shows. In fact, I think 4 programs recently on the funding aspect of it. We've done it from several different vantage points, but Antifa is very nicely compensated for doing its revolutionary tactics to bring chaos to Portland and keep the pressure on and stay in the streets, which is what it's all about. What are your insights about that? I mean, for me, it's just like they keep wanting people, they keep telling us, the politicians do, we got to stay on the streets. We got to stay on the street. And it's like people are, for example, I've had multiple reasons to keep people in. There was anti-Elon Musk, get in the streets. No Kings, get in the streets. And Epstein, get in the streets. And it's just like, and where do you get your Epstein prize? That old Chris Rock thing. Where do I get my OJ prize? Well, where do you get your Epstein prize? Who's a winner? It's the people who are in charge paying out, who want more power to arrogate toward themselves. That's my opinion. What is yours?
I mean, it's all part of the Soroses and the ones of the big time funders. When you look at like the Portland Freedom Fund that raised millions upon millions of dollars to just go bail out rioters, it shows those who are out there on the streets that I can go out there and do whatever I want because somebody's covering me. Somebody has my back. And so they feel like they can go out there and wreak havoc without consequence. And there's there's going to actually start being some consequence against that. And so it is, I'm happy to see that Donald Trump is starting to go after their finances and starting to link different of these nonprofits and stuff that's been embezzling the money into helping these domestic terrorists.
So what do you think the end game is? I want it in your words.
The end game? Well, hopefully the end game is for the right and the left to be able to live in unity, but history seems to show us that we're just splitting farther and farther apart. And so the end game that I would like to see and the end game that is probably the end game that we're actually going to experience is probably two different things.
Yeah. I mean, I hope it's some we can reach comedy of some sort, we can reach an understanding of some sort.
And I believe that the right does have the tolerance that it takes to bridge the gap, but it takes both sides to be willing to bridge that gap.
What does it look like to do that? What do you think?
Have conversations, respect one another's opinions, realize that we're all part of something bigger than ourselves, and that's humanity. It's at the end of the day.
Yeah. Let's see. Recently, we've got people who are trying to drown out voices on the right at these places, from Portland to the University of Oregon to the college in Utah when they silenced Charlie Kirk. Sounds like they're not willing to listen.
When you have one side that is not tolerant, it's like what they're trying to preach. They're really gaslighting when they preach tolerance. And it makes it really hard to find that unity when you have another side that wants to kill you. And when no matter what you do, when you want to stay in the moral zone of things, you have the other side that is willing to play dirty. And so we're in a hard spot, but at the end of the day, this is when we have to put our foot down. And when those times come, we have to fight back. This is not the time to get complicit. This is the time to stand your ground and stand up for what is right.
True. And that's, brings us to the beginning of the conversation today on the Adult in the Room podcast. And it was how we are begging and screaming. It may not be loud, but it's a desire in our hearts to have partners, people who, a lot of women are strong. We need men who are equally strong, who can come alongside us and to help lead the way forward. So
it's going to take all of us. It's going to take all of us at the end of the day. It takes a village, is what I heard Enrique say over the weekend. When we can do what we can for our own community and do what we can to help grow it and prosper and raise our kids with morals on what we want to see this future of this country to look like. If the liberals all stop having kids, it's the best thing for this country.
we need people. We need immigration. But we don't need illegal immigration. We need to be able to pick our own team. And
We need
that
people
just
who want to stand up for Western civilization and Western values and respect this country.
I agree. Did you see what Governor Abbott did in Texas? I don't know why I'm blanking on his first name, but Greg Abbott. He signed an executive order that CARE will be now considered to be a terror organization. I don't know if he could do this statewide, but he's making an effort. And to outlaw Sharia courts, which he already has, I think, a couple of them. And so in the state of Texas, I mean, how can you have a two-tiered system of justice? I mean, we already know how it happens, but you can't have an entirely different way of doing justice that is antithetical to Western values, as you say. Yeah. So
Sharia law has no place inside of this country. It does not work. I know that it's popping off in Dearborn, Michigan with the protests as we speak.
yeah.
And I'm hoping that New York City does not go down that path, because that's one of the biggest economies for cities inside of this country. And it's going to be an eye opener for a lot of people who were deceived with that.
Well, Real Black Rebel, you are awesome. Thank you so much for coming on the Adult in the Room podcast. And I'll say goodbye so you can go check on what's going on in Dearborn. Is there any violence that you've seen so far?
A little bit. I heard Cam Higby got maced. Jake Lane may have got maced, and there's some other people that's down there as well. So
was it by the leftists or their friends on the far?
With the Kir Muslim issue that's going on with this specific protest.
Yeah, interesting. Well, all right. Thank you. Keep watch as you do. So very well. Thank you. I appreciate it. Hope you can come back. That is true. He is the Real Black Rebel and _ on X. And he is going to, goes to all kinds of events because he loves this country. And he, of course, was stabbed by Antifa in Portland in 2019. Thank you so much for watching and listening to this episode of the Adult in the Room podcast. We do not take you for granted. We appreciate every single person who tunes in every week to listen and watch this program. We're here every Tuesday and Thursday, live streaming on Rumble, and then on every other podcast platform shortly thereafter when we can port it over and get it over there as soon as we can. All the shows can be found at victoriataft.com, where the censorship regime has been banned by me. Follow me on social media at these names: Victoria Taft, the Adult in the Room podcast, and The Victoria Taft Show. Send media inquiries, or any others for that matter, to victoria@victoriataft.com. And here's a big ask. Would you please subscribe, share, like, comment, recommend, and give this program a 5-star rating where you can? We really appreciate it. We do not take that for granted either. Follow my work at, you guessed it, victoriataft.com. PJ Media, I write tons over there. Flamingo Audiobooks, and of course the radio. I don't do this alone. This show is produced and engineered by Overall Media. 1A Cast is responsible for some of the Adult in the Room podcast's imaging. Logo design by Hageman Creative. The Adult in the Room podcast is produced at Flamingo Road Studios. All rights reserved.